Welcome to the Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Hey everybody, welcome back to my podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. I know that the last episode we talked about coronavirus and some tips for business of how to, stay creative during this time if you're not able to work your business, if you are a business owner, entrepreneur and such. This will be the time to get your skills up. If you have a 9-to-5 job, this is the time to take those free webinars and anything that you can find that'll be very low cost or no cost, to get your skills up. Start reading and researching and figuring out a way to start another side hustle or whatever it is that, you've always wanted to do but never got the chance to really have the time to concentrate. It'll also help you keep your mind off of everything that is happening. I know it's hard to do. We're all going through it. I'm in the Atlanta area, but the majority of my family, my sister's out in Colorado, but the majority of my family is in New York and New Jersey. So it's definitely a major concern because over half of the cases of coronavirus in the country are in New York. So it definitely concerns me. A cousin of mine is, lives in the Bronx, and he said that his neighbor was just diagnosed with coronavirus, his next door neighbor. So that's very concerning. There's just a whole lot happening. So I just want to kind of encourage people to stay encouraged and stay, prayed up, because this is the time where, we can't just be wandering around and just, inundating ourselves with all the news. The great thing that we can do right now, don't be inundated by news, just stay informed. But if you feel inundated and you feel like there's so much information coming at you, take a break. Stay informed, go to the CDC website, go to the World Health Organization website. Those are the two trustworthy places that you can go, that you can get up-to-date information on everything that's happening with COVID-19 and the most reliable sources. I know that a lot of people are writing articles. I know that, Trump is tweeting and saying all these different things and having, press conferences and all of that. But we need to really pay attention to what the real information is. And that is only going to come through the CDC, and it is only going to come through the World Health Organization. So those are the two places that you would want to find the facts about COVID-19 and things that you should be doing and, all of that. Also, you should be paying attention to your local ordinances. I know it's kind of difficult. I know here in Atlanta, it's a very difficult thing because there's so many counties here, and there's certain counties that have certain rules and then other counties who do not. At one point, some kids were still in school and some kids were out of school. So, it just depends on what county you're in, but go to your county website. So if you're, especially in the Atlanta area, if you're in Fulton County or Gwinnett County or Cobb County or, and whatever it is, go to your county websites. And, it's not just for the state, but your county and the city that you're in, and make sure that you're following all the rules, especially if you're a business owner. There's going to be a lot of rules that you have to follow. There's certain businesses that cannot be open right now. So yeah, definitely keep up to date with what's happening on a local level and on the federal level. CDC and World Health Organization. Those are the two websites that we need to be looking at. So I said in my last episode that I would come to you guys with some more facts of things that I have dug up, and and just what a lot of people have been talking about amongst us business owners and entrepreneurs. And one of the major things, of course, is how are we going to get past being able to pay bills and doing all of this, and it's going to be very tough. So one of the things that I have discovered, even just for myself, which I have taken advantage of, I had some loans, things that you're paying on credit cards or whatever. I took one whole day, called up all of my bills that I have to pay, whether they're creditors or loans or whatever it is, and negotiated with each of them individually. Some did not bend. I would say the majority did bend. The majority have something in place for COVID-19 pandemic disaster relief, and there are some companies who just don't care. I will get to that in 1 minute. But one of the things that I was glad about, and I actually posted about it on my Facebook page, was about Verizon. And I have Verizon for my business. And let me tell you something. This is for phone. They're doing something. If you do have Verizon Wireless, or you have Verizon High-Speed Access and all of that, they're doing something right now called billing suppression. Okay, so to suppress means to keep down. So billing suppression means what they are going to do is they are going to make sure that you do not lose service through May 2020. Okay, so you will be fine from now. I believe they started it on March 16th. Or March 15th, one of the two, but they started it in the middle of March, and they're going to go all the way through May. So in other words, if you don't pay your bill from now until May, you will not have to worry about losing service if you're unable to pay, money is tight, that sort of thing. Okay, they said that they will reassess in May to see if that needs to go further, but if it does not at that time, what they are going to do is you'll be able to call them, speak to them, and come up with some sort of plan to gradually pay off, the bill that you would have incurred between now and May. So I think that's just an amazing thing. Shouts out to Verizon for, stepping up to the plate. Nobody had to ask them to do it. They put out a statement to say, this is what we're doing. And they're also providing 15 gigabytes of high-speed data that will be given to wireless customers and also small business customers. And that will be automatically applied to, consumers from March 25th through April 30th. So thank you so much, Verizon, for being on the right side of history right now with all of this. And again, when it comes to loans and things like that, what I was able to do is put the couple of loans that I have out on forbearance. So basically what that means is, and without penalty, which is amazing. So make sure you call up your student loans, make sure whatever loans that you have going on, I was able to get them on forbearance. And basically what that means is that you are postponing the payment. So you don't need to make payments right now. And you're postponing the payment till a later date. You talk to them and you tell them what's going to work best for you. Especially because we don't know where this is really going to go. We don't know how long this is going to last, but I can tell you in the next 2 months, we will probably still be in a similar situation because we haven't even hit the peak yet of viral infections. So, as more testing happens, we're going to see the numbers climb up. From what I understand from last night, I think I heard it last night or early this morning, that the U.S. is now leading the world in coronavirus cases. So very concerning, but it's actually good that we know the numbers because that means that there's more testing and we can really, get a hold of what's really going on and really decide what, as a country, what really needs to happen, and hoping that leadership will take heed of this, of what the CDC and what the World Health Organization is saying so that we can, get ahead of this, and help to, everybody hears the term flatten the curve. We are climbing up to the curve, but I truly believe that we have not hit the top just based on what the CDC experts are saying, and scientists, and some of our great scientific minds, and biology folks, and biologists, and people who deal with this stuff every day. They're giving us such great information, and we haven't hit the top of the curve yet. So it's going to be something. We're in our house, and we got our provisions, our groceries, and I know people are getting grocery deliveries. I know grocery delivery is inundated, and people are trying to find toilet paper, and it's almost surreal. It's kind of surreal right now. But like I said, I am very concerned. People are like, how do you keep such a great, attitude through all of this? I'm like, you know what? It's something that you just cannot control. I'm definitely concerned, but I'm not worried. And the reason why I'm not worried is because I know God got us. My faith keeps me in a space of gratitude all the time, no matter what's going on. And I thank God for my parents, who instilled, they were the two main people that instilled that in me from a young child. So no matter if I wanted to do things my way, or I wanted to, stray off to the side in my teenage years or whatever, I always knew the foundation that I always had. And I always, harken back to that. So that's what it is for me. I definitely am concerned, but worry is definitely not something that I cling to. Even on a regular day, I'm not much of a worrywart type of person, but I definitely am a person that likes to spring into action. So I wanted to tell you guys about that. If you have Verizon, or maybe it's not Verizon, maybe you have Sprint or T-Mobile or whatever, call them up and ask them. Specifically, Verizon calls it billing suppression. I don't know if that's what the other companies are calling it, but that's what Verizon is calling it. So call up your cable companies, your loan folks. So the way the loan forbearance thing would work, and I know a lot of people are going to have questions about it. The way that it would work is that, let's say you were due to pay off a loan in, let's say, August, and that term of that loan was going to be done and you'd be paying it off in August. Since you're not making any payments for the next 2 months, maybe 3 months, let's say 2 months, instead of your loan being paid off in August, they would just add it to the end of your loan, and you probably would not pay it off until October. So they're not adding 2 payments. They're just taking those 2 payments that you would have paid right now, and they're adding them to the end to give you a couple months of freedom to not have to make those payments. Hopefully they will do, your loan companies or your creditors will do that, for you in some way, shape, or capacity, without interest. That's the key too. We're hoping that they do forbearance, but we also want them to do it interest free. And I know that student loans, I don't think Sallie Mae is a thing anymore. I think it's Navient now. I believe that's what Navient is doing. I have heard that it's 30 days, but I also heard some reports it's 60 days. One of the reports I heard with the 60 days was coming from a very reliable source. So I do believe that it's at least 30 days, possibly 60 days of forbearance. And of course, you can definitely apply for forbearance if you're eligible for it, but go on those websites of all of your creditors and see if they already have something in place. Verizon didn't even contact us to let us know about these things. They literally put up on their website, this is what we're doing. And I think that's just awesome, so hopefully these tips will help. One more thing I had to say about small business owners. I have looked into, they have disaster loan assistance. This is for federal disaster loans for businesses, private, nonprofits, homeowners, and renters. So if you go to disasterloan.sba.gov, you should be able to find all the information there. Hey, you guys, welcome back. I wanted to come back with this last piece because I wanted to, speak a little bit about this. I mentioned it in the previous segment, but I wanted to recap with this. There are two companies. I pay about, I think, 11 or 12 different companies every month between my personal and business expenses. And two of the companies had zero plan or contingency, plan in place for this global pandemic that we're going through right now. They did not bend at all as far as payments, nothing. And one person was actually quite rude, and I understand this is a stressful time, and I understand they're getting a lot of phone calls and inundated and all of that. But if you are in customer service, that is the lifeline to your business. And if people feel like you have an attitude and people feel like you're rude and, whatever the case may be, it's not going to go over well for you. This is an unprecedented thing, but you have to know how to rise to the occasion for these sort of things. It is something that not all of us know how to do, but it definitely shows you who is strong in that regard and who is not. And I have decided with those two companies, and I'm not going to bash them. I'm not going to, please don't ask me their names or DM me asking their names, because I'm not going to say, because everybody's going to have their own experience with those companies. But for me, after we get past this pandemic situation that we are going through, I will no longer be doing business with those two companies, just because of the fact that, to be quite honest, both of them have been quite problematic over the years, but I stuck with them because of their rates and because of the connection that the companies have to other outlets. I'll just say it that way. And sometimes it's not always the connections. And I know that some people deal with folks who just have horrible attitudes and just are rude and have no caring side to them and don't know when to take off their business hat and put on their human hat. Sometimes you have to do that. You have to take off the business hat and put on the human hat and be like, listen, and that's why I always say, that I push people to their purpose, because yes, I am a business, and yes, of course, I want my invoices to be paid, but I also am very aware of my surroundings, and I'm very aware of what's, the temperature in the atmosphere right now, and just even on a regular day, if people are going through personal things, I've had clients who have had, deaths in their family or sickness or whatever, and they go through things. And I've always been very flexible that way, working with people, because I work a lot with small business owners, and I know what it's like. I am a small business owner and entrepreneur, and I know what that feels like when you are up against a wall or a dead end or whatever the case may be. So I say all that to say this. Those companies, I won't be doing business with those two particular companies, because they had nothing in place for any type of emergency type financial situations at all. They have no plans to at all. Both the websites have very little information about COVID-19, which I think is quite irresponsible, actually, if you are in the service business, especially. So with all of that, I have decided to not do business with either of them after this whole thing is over. And, I would urge anyone that, working with people right now and seeing them under pressure is going to tell you all that you need to know about truly doing good business. And I do believe that you can be a great business person and make great money and be profitable, but also have a heart as well. You have to be, humanitarianism has to come with that, you have to give back, and when you see people are unwilling to budge on things like that, you got to question you got to question their business sense as well. So I just wanted to say that was my last piece. But if you want to further the conversation, you know where you can find me on the web. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Onyx Queen Media. Stay healthy and most of all, stay safe. Talk to you soon.